Okay, let's get started. Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are, we're tackling a topic that is probably in your hand or your pocket right now.
That would be the mobile phone.
Exactly, the mobile phone. It's everywhere, it's always changing, and I think it's fair to say it's maybe the most debated piece of technology in our daily lives.
Indeed it is. And for our discussion today, we're framing it really as a kind of friendly debate. We're
Mhm.
looking at the two sides of the story. The huge positive uses versus some of the real costs to us as people and as a society.
Right. And our mission today is to go a little deeper than just a simple list of pros and cons. We really want to get into how the mobile phone changes things for us, how it changes our thinking, our relationships, everything.
So I'll be taking on the more critical side of things,
Mhm.
looking at where this useful tool starts to become more of a problem.
And I'll be starting us off by making the case for the mobile phone as truly one of the best inventions of our time. And I think there's a very strong argument for that.
Okay? I'm ready to listen.
So, to begin this deep dive, let's really establish its virtues. When we look at the positive side, we have to start with the biggest and I think the most profound effect it's had. And that's how it has completely changed human connection.
Right. Communication. That's its
Hmm.
primary job, after all.
Exactly. But it's more than just communication now. It's become something that lets us almost ignore distance. Some people call it spatial collapse.
Spatial collapse. I like that term. It's very descriptive.
It is, isn't it? It suggests that where you are in the world, that geographic distance, it's just not a barrier anymore to talking to someone.
That's very true. You can have a high-quality conversation, even a video call, instantly.
Think about what it was like before. If you moved away from family, that connection would slowly fade. Phone calls were expensive, letters were slow.
Hmm.
Now you can call, you can message, you can video call your friends, your family anytime you want.
And that's a huge emotional support. I mean, for people who live far from home students, people working abroad, just seeing a parent's face on a screen instantly,
Mm-hmm.
that makes a huge difference to feelings of loneliness.
It really does. It makes the world feel smaller and a bit safer. It's a psychological benefit we don't always talk about.
I must agree with you there. That is a very strong and true point. This ability to connect is, it's unparalleled, really.
Okay, so from connection, let's move to the next big area, education.
Ah, yes, the pocket teachers.
The pocket teacher. I love that analogy because it's so true. The mobile phone has turned from just a device into a personal tutor for so many people.
This is a huge democratizing force. Before, if you wanted to learn something specific, you had to be physically near a university or a good library.
Yes, which meant it was expensive and not available to everyone.
Oi!
Now, you can find an amazing online course, sometimes for free, on almost any subject. World-class learning is now open to anyone with a phone and a signal.
And students can learn at their own pace. They can watch videos, they can pause, they can repeat a lesson as many times as they need to.
And for someone learning a language, say English, this is perfect.
Exactly.
You can listen to podcasts like this one, watch videos, use apps to practice. The phone becomes your learning partner.
It really does. It turns that dead time like waiting for a bus or a lunch break into active learning time. Your education can be continuous.
So from connection and education, let's shift to something more urgent. Safety. The role of the mobile in an emergency.
Okay. And this is where the phone goes from being a convenience to being, well, essential.
Absolutely. The ability to quickly call for help if there is an accident, whether it's a medical issue or a car crash. I mean, this has saved so many lives.
Without a doubt, it has saved lives. It's the difference between hoping someone stops to help you and being instantly connected to emergency services.
And it's not just the call, is it? The GPS in the phone means they can find you, even if you don't know where you are.
That's a critical point. That provides a level of safety we just didn't have before.
So it's this sense of security it provides, knowing you're never completely disconnected from help.
That's a powerful benefit.
And that leads us to the last big positive point, just daily convenience, the way mobiles make life easier, faster, and smarter.
This is what drives modern life, really. All the online services.
Think about it. Paying bills, ordering food, booking tickets for a train or a movie.
All things that used to require a trip somewhere, waiting in a line.
Right, you had to physically go to the bank. Now it's just a few taps on your screen, and it's done.
The amount of time that frees up is substantial.
And for work, too, you can attend meetings from anywhere. A business can keep running even if people aren't in the same room.
I agree.
So if you put it all together, connection, education, safety, and convenience, it's pretty clear that the mobile phone is a powerful force for good. It makes our lives easier and, I would say, better.
That is a very persuasive case. And it's true, the utility is immense.
Yeah.
But that very utility, that convenience, that constant connection, that's exactly where the problems begin.
Okay.
Because this tool is not just designed to be used, it's designed to demand your attention.
Yeah.
And when utility becomes compulsion, well, that's the other side of the story.
Yeah, it's here.
Okay, let's pivot to that other side.
Hmm.
The incredible convenience you described, it comes at a price we pay in our attention, our health, and even our relationships.
Right.
And the very first problem, the biggest one our sources point to, is overuse. And what many are now calling addiction.
Addiction is a strong word. Are we sure it's addiction, or is it just a very strong habit?
That is a very good question. But when you see the examples of like people checking their phones every few minutes, that inability to just sit quietly without scrolling, it starts to look a lot more like a behavioral addiction.
So what's happening there? Why is it so compelling?
Well, it's because these apps, especially social media, are designed to be that way. They use something called the variable reinforcement schedule.
Okay, that sounds technical. What does it mean in simple terms?
Think of a slot machine in a casino. You pull the lever because you might get a reward. You don't know when it's coming.
Ah, I see.
Your phone is the same. You refresh your feed or check your notifications because you might see a new message. It's unpredictable. And that unpredictability is what makes it so addictive. Our brains get a little hit of a chemical called dopamine just from the anticipation.
So you're constantly in this state of waiting for the next little reward.
Exactly. And that fragments your attention. You can't focus deeply on one thing if your brain is always half waiting for a ping from your phone.
That makes a lot of sense.
Well-
Okay, so that's the first problem. What's the second?
The second is more physical. It's the health problems that come from all of this screen time.
Right, like eye strain.
Eye strain, yes.
Uh-huh.
But also headaches and something very serious, which is poor sleep.
How does the phone affect sleep so much?
The screen on your phone emits a lot of blue light. And blue light sends a signal to your brain that says, hey, it's daytime. Wake up. So if you are looking at your phone in bed right before you try to sleep, you're basically telling your body it's not time for sleep yet. It suppresses melatonin, which is the hormone that helps you sleep.
So you're fighting against your own body's natural rhythm.
You are. And poor sleep doesn't just make you tired. Over time, it affects your memory, your immune system, even your mood. It's a serious health issue.
Wow. Okay, so we have addiction and health problems. What's next?
Next is the social impact. The decline in face-to-face interaction. We've all seen it, haven't we?
Yes, a group of people at a restaurant all looking at their phones instead of talking to each other.
Precisely. They are physically together, but mentally they are somewhere else.
Yeah.
It reduces real-life, direct communication. We are talking less to the people who are right in front of us.
We lose that real connection.
We do. And that's especially worrying when we think about children.
Ah, yes. The impact on kids.
Children are very vulnerable to this. You see many kids on phones or tablets for hours instead of being outside playing.
And playing outside is so important for their development, for learning how to interact with other kids, for physical skills.
It is. They're missing out on that active, creative play. The screen provides easy, passive entertainment, and that can make it harder for them to learn how to deal with boredom or focus on their own.
That's a big concern. So there's one more point, I think.
Yes, the last one is simply waste of time. Social media, short videos, they're designed to keep you scrolling. And before you know it, an hour has gone by, maybe 2 hours.
You haven't really learned anything useful in that time.
Exactly, the time just vanishes. So while the mobile can be a useful tool, if it's misused, it can also be quite dangerous. It wastes our time, harms our health, and weakens our relationships.
Okay, that was a very strong case for the negative side. And I accept all those points. We see it happening. But it brings me back to a fundamental question.
What's that?
Is the problem really the mobile phone itself? Or is the problem how we use it? Isn't this really about our own discipline?
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
And that is really the core of the issue, isn't it? It's too simple to just blame the technology. A phone is just an object until a person picks it up.
Right.
But we also have to admit that this isn't a simple tool like a hammer. It's a tool that was designed by very smart people to capture and hold our attention. It's designed to bypass our discipline.
So it's actively working against our good intentions. With notifications and endless feeds, it's always pulling you back in.
It is. So the problem is not the phone, I agree. The problem is when we let the phone's design dictate our behavior instead of the other way around.
So if we want to get all the good things you talked about, the connection, the learning, we have to be intentional. We have to use discipline.
Yes, that's the key. Discipline.
Yeah.
Wise use. For example, setting time limits for certain apps.
Right. Or deciding why you are picking up your phone. Like your example, using it specifically to improve your English, that's a smart use.
It is because it has a clear purpose. You open the learning app, you do your practice, and then you put the phone down.
You're in control of the action.
Exactly. The purpose matters. The problem is when you go to do one useful thing and get pulled into a black hole of social media for an hour.
So it all comes down to that analogy we found in our sources.
The tool analogy.
That mobiles are like a tool. If you use them correctly, they help you. But if you use them wrongly, they harm you.
That is the perfect summary. The phone itself is neutral, but it takes a lot of effort from us, the users, to keep it that way.
So the deep dive doesn't end with saying phones are good or bad. It ends with a challenge to us, the user.
Yes. The challenge is to manage this powerful tool wisely so we get the benefits without paying the high costs.
To actively control it so we can learn and connect without letting it take over our attention and our lives.
Mastering the device really means mastering yourself.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it's clear the mobile phone is, well, it's complicated. It offers so much connection to the world, but it can also disconnect us from ourselves and the people right next to us.
That's a great way to put it.
And the main takeaway, the most important thing to remember, is that we have to be in charge. We need to decide what we want the phone to do for us, not just react to what it wants from us.
And that leads to the final message for everyone listening. It's a kind of mantra you can repeat to yourself. Control the mobile. Don't let the mobile control you.
I love that. And for our listeners who are learning English, that is especially powerful. You can use your phone as an amazing learning partner.
Exactly.
Use it for these podcasts, for videos, for practice, but use it with a purpose. Set a timer, do your learning, and then put it away. That's what smart, wise use looks like.
Use the tool to build your knowledge. But don't let that tool steal your most valuable thing, your time and your attention.
So we hope this deep dive has given you something to think about. The next time your phone lights up, you have the power to decide if it's going to be a teacher or a thief.
Until next time, be well and use your attention wisely.
Thanks for listening.
Bye for now.